Hello and welcome to another edition of Burning Questions. Jason Bonington's got the week off. We've given him a spell, but the good news is that we've got two of the trendiest hat wearers in the game, as well as Tim O'Connor joining us today. Top, welcome back.
Yeah, and I thought I was part of that too. Maybe not. Anyway, I knew the boys would have the hats going, so I thought I'd pull that one out of the closet. The old Pomona Cricket Club. You could call it a baggie, but my head's swollen pretty significantly in the last year. It's a bit of a tight fit. But anyway, thought I'd throw the hat on today for Burning Questions.
Yeah, no, I stand by my original comment that Sally and Andy are the trendy hat wearers, whereas Andy Gath, fresh off a burning our best bets win. How are you this week?
Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks, Kate.
And David Moran making your Burning Questions debut ahead of a big return for Lachie this weekend. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Kate.
We'll get stuck into it shortly, but first we will acknowledge our sponsors, and the first of those is, of course, Hip Pocket Workwear and Safety. And whether you're celebrating a win or shoveling in the stables, you want your staff to look their very best, and you do that with uniforms from Hip Pocket Workwear and Safety. They have you covered for clothing, protective equipment, and plenty more. Check out hippocketworkwear.com.au. And also keep an eye out for some merchandise that we've got out at Melton at the moment, Big Bread and Summer of Glory. So we'll have to both get you sorted with some of that we've got coming up. Question 1. Will draw or experience prevail in the 3-year-old event? Of course, we've got Ideal Pace and Lock-On for Jag from Dave Moran's stables, and we've also got Torpedo Bud and Emma Stewart runner off the front line, and then horses that have gone through the Big Bread series like Interest Free off the back row. We'll start with you here, Toc. What are your thoughts? Is it going to be experience or draw?
I should have got a bit of inside info yesterday when we were up in Shepparton, and the other reason I'm wearing the hat today, I got severely sunburnt yesterday, Dave, after rolling up the Shepparton. I'm not used to it being a Ballarat boy, and as you would have said, I got out of the car and every one of your staff had a crack at me for wearing a jumper and jeans, but that's what happens when you're in Ballarat. But I think it will be experience. Skeet, I'm pretty keen on Interest Free in this race. He's got the outside of the back row, but I think he's the class runner. He keeps stepping up. I remember his last start win, and I think I might have had the field in the quaddie, or I tried to take him on, and I was pretty happy with myself turning for home because he was in all sorts of trouble, and he got down and won, and he's done that a few times. He's overcome adversity to win races, so I'm pretty impressed with him. But in saying that, Lachie Jag looked pretty good on debut when he flew the gate. I think he'll find the top and be awfully hard to run down. It's a really good question. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to have a go and say that experience will win and Interest Free will get the job done.
Andy, I'll go to you next. I think out of Cells 2, we'll get his thoughts in a moment, but Lachie Jag at this stage probably looks the pick of the two, but then of course you've got Interest Free, and even Mark Thompson's couple of horses. I thought they were, whilst being below the best, they still held their own through that Big Bread series. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's a little bit tricky. Obviously, Cells horse Lachie Jag's first up and performed well, won first up, and we'll find out his opinion pretty soon. But Interest Free sort of been in a lot of fights this 2-year-old season, and even he's the well-performed horse. But again, you just wanted to think how much longer he can go for. Been up for a long time, and obviously the classic race in a couple of weeks' time for him. So yeah, I think he's still the one to beat Interest Free. He's performed well through a series. Even though he's drawn back, still just waiting for him to sort of put in a bad one, which he sort of hasn't yet. But I'm with Toc. I'll stick with the barrier draw rather than the experience rather than the barrier draw.
So you play a pretty big hand in this race, and it's going to be a really interesting affair, and it could be one where a horse really stands up. Firstly, on your two runners, and who are the major horses to beat in your eyes?
Yeah, Ideal Pace, he's not going to go round. He's not 100%. He didn't trial all that well the other night, so we won't embarrass him. So he won't be going round. Yeah, Lachie Jag, I think he's a really nice horse. I really like him as a 2-year-old. Went a little bit of a mess, only marginally. He's been out a break now. He's had a couple of good trials, and he seemed to be really sharp the other night. So I think he'll be hard to beat. But in saying that, Glenn's horse has done a great job, and he has been up for a long time. And like you said, Andy alluded to before, he's yet to put in a really bad run. So that's a bit of a concern. Barrier 10 obviously probably helps our cause to a degree, but there is still a bit bit of speed off the front row. Craig's horse, National News. I thought he was terrific through the Carnival at Leeton. Didn't have a lot of luck there over the short trip when they ran a 55 mile. So I thought he was a danger. Emma and Clayton's horses are always dangerous. But I thought, I thought my bloke's probably got the draw where he probably can lead, and I think he will take a little bit of beating.
Good. The second of our burning questions is thanks to the Fresh Connection, who exports Australian fresh fruit to more than 35 countries. Headed up by Damien Glengarry, who is the export manager and does a magnificent job, the Fresh Connection specialise in citrus, table grapes, cherries and mangoes. freshconnection.com.au. So we asked most of our guests choice of fruit.
I don't eat any fruit, any salad, any vegetable, so I haven't got a lot. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably go banana.
You don't mind a cider on a Sunday session, do you, Sal?
No, they're all right.
Maybe apples then.
Popular choice of banana, can't go wrong. We'll start with you, Sal, for the second of our burning questions. Does Artie have his hometown cup already in his grasp, or is he slightly vulnerable first up? We've seen him trial, he looks good, but obviously first up for almost 12 months, it's a huge ask at this level. Is he ready to roll?
Yeah, he's ready to go. He's pretty good. He's as good as we can get him at home and at the trials anyway. Race experience obviously is a key factor. Both trials, he's done nothing throughout the league time, all that sort of thing. So barrier 7 probably does suit him. But yeah, no, he certainly hasn't got it in his grasp, that's for sure. No race at that level you really do, but he's going to be, if other horses are going to have the chance to beat him today, this week's going to be the perfect week. He's going to be that tiny bit vulnerable, and the barrier draw sort of puts him out of play early. So he'll definitely be vulnerable, and that'll be the case. But he'll benefit from the run, that's for sure.
Andy, I'll go to you next. You've obviously played a big hand, but that question's still to come. But just on Lachie, we know what a champion horse he is, and we've seen him do things that are remarkable. Do you think he wins this weekend, or is it not quite as simple as that?
Again, it's very hard to win first up at any level, especially at top level. But, to be honest, he's the best horse in Australia at his best, and what he can do other horses can't do. Even though he's going in the race a little bit underdone, Sal wouldn't have him there if he wasn't, close to peak fitness and performing at a level that he's going to be happy with. So sometimes these good horses can overcome what us trainers do with them too, sometimes too, because they just know how to win, and they can overcome a little bit of fitness, not being quite fit enough. So yeah, he's definitely the horse to beat. He's a quality horse, even though he hasn't drawn that well. The draw might pay in his favour. There might be a bit of a burn early. So yeah, he's a quality horse, and it's good to see him back on the racetrack. But again, if he's going to not win a big race, hopefully this is the race that he misses out on and can let Tango Tara win one go.
Toc, we had plenty of time to discuss this on the way up to Shepparton yesterday, so I know your thoughts on this, but let us know, is Artie slightly vulnerable this week in your eyes?
Well, I think he is. I think, well, not everybody, but I think a fairly widespread consensus would agree that he might be a little bit vulnerable here. Wide barrier draw, 11 months away from the races, and a pretty good field, and some horses in good form, drawn well. So I think there's sort of, if you're trying to do ticks and crosses, he's probably three significant crosses there against him. The big tick is that he's a superstar, and he's probably better than them all. I've sort of got a bit of a rule, generally speaking, that I try to take on horses first up, particularly from long breaks and injuries. I think I said to you in the casket, if I was given $100 to play with, I probably wouldn't have $100 to win on Lachie, even though he's getting out to pretty juicy odds. I probably have 50 each way. Tango Tara, that wasn't before Andy opened the wallet. He was $8. He's into $5.50 now, so it might be an each way play. But I think I'd either not bet in the race and hope he wins and just enjoy the celebration, or maybe have a bet on Tango Tara.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic to see him back. I'm sticking with him. I think that we've seen him overcome things and win by spaces when he probably had no right to. So I'm sticking with Artie first up, and I think he can get the job done. And hopefully we get a great crowd at Shepparton just to witness him as well. The third of our burning questions is brought to us by APG. Obviously, they've got their yearling sales coming up. I'm heading out to Monty Burnett's to photograph a few of her draft next week, so looking forward to that. So make sure you check out the website there and have a look at all the yearlings up for offer. Andy, does Tango Tara hold the top, and can he win from out in front?
Well, he'll be trying to hold the top. He's never had any decent draw since he's been in Australia, so we're not 100% sure of his gate speed, but he's quite a fast horse, high speed. So I think Mac Da Vinci is probably the only one that can cross him if he does get across. But if he's fast enough to lead, he'll be holding the lead. 2 starts ago, he was able to find the front. Admittedly, he was gifted the front off Supreme Dominator, and it sat on our back and couldn't run past us. And then it sat on Amazing Dreams back and was able to run past it. Lachie McIntosh sat on our back and wasn't able to run past us. So but he'll be a lot fitter for that. So again, if he's fast enough to lead, we're keen to hold the lead. So simple as that. If he's not fast enough to lead, so be it. He'll just stay on the fence and just be driven for a little bit of luck. But we don't really know his gate speed too much, to be honest.
And you must have been wrapped with his Bendigo performance. Obviously, it was quick last quarter, and he hit the line well.
He did. He had a really soft run, and the tempo wasn't that quick, but still to make ground in a really fast quarter and ran past a horse and really beat him home convincingly. We'll put fun and just a bit of scratch on the crown up, had a shoe, so he'll run from Bendigo game Saturday night.
Sal, how do you see the start of this race playing out? So we've heard from Andy there that Tango Tara will be hoping to hold the top. Do you think he has the speed too? And how do you see those first probably 300 or 400 metres?
Yeah, I was very similar to Andy. I thought the only horse that could possibly cross him would be Mac Da Vinci. He seems to muster quick after 50, but it's very hard to gauge the gate speed at Menangle. Obviously, the mobile goes a hell of a lot quicker. So, when you're drawn right next to him down here in Victoria, it can be extremely hard compared to Menangle, where if you're a couple out. I noticed last week he came out sort of pretty level with them and then mustered really, really quick after the first 100. So it's a bit. It is a bit hard to get a guide. I guess we'll have to wait till the green light goes on, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tango holds up, and if he does, he's obviously the horse to beat. He's never had a lot of luck with barrier draws, and the only times you see him in front, he doesn't often get beaten. If he does, it's by a very small margin. So he's been he's been a really nice horse since he come over, and I think he'd be the one to beat if he was in front. That's for sure.
Toc, you've already said that you're quite keen on Tango Tara on an each-way basis, although that price has been shortened a little bit. How do you see the start of this race playing out?
Yeah, we need to get HRV to get these pays in a bit sooner. I'm sort of hanging out for the 15th of each month to. I could have had a couple of early bets this week, but not to be. I think he'll hold the front just. Mac Da Vinci, as Dave said when we were up there yesterday, I sort of went back and did his replays after that, and particularly his last day, he flew out, didn't he? He was amazing. You often hear drivers talk about, being further away, drawn 6 or 7 might have been a better advantage for him to get across. I don't know. Drawn right next to him in 2, you're going to have to be very quick. And I sort of subscribe to the theory that any fast horse, good horse is fast, sort of generally speaking, at the start as well. So I reckon Tango Tara can hold the lead. If he doesn't, I'm absolutely not phased at all. That's why I think he's just a really safe each-way bet. I think he's really suited in front and can win in front, but if not, can sprint quick, as we saw at Bendigo and numerous other times. So, yeah, I think he'll hold the lead, and I think he's going to be awfully hard to beat either way.
The last of our burning questions is thanks to Felvo Fruits, who specialise in table grapes since the 1960s. Michael and Josie Felvo are keeping the tradition going, and everyone loves their grapes. Keep an eye out for Felvo Fruits. You'll love them. We've learned a lot of things throughout burning questions, and one of them is the difference between grapes and table grapes. So I can't actually remember what the answer is, but I do know at some point we learnt that. Andy, will Majestuoso be back to his best and dominate despite the second row draw? We haven't seen him for a little while, but we know how good he is at his best. Where is he at?
Yeah, obviously, he probably had 2 or 3 runs, probably too many going into his last preparation. And his last run, he didn't go bad. He was really good on the clock, but he did have atrial fibrillation. And He didn't get beat by that far, so he went to the paddock, get a bit of time off. He seems, he goes really well fresh. He trialled Monday night at the trial, getting back eligible for this race. He trialled against the paces. He was really good on the clock and done it well. Yeah, he's a quality horse. We know he is. Inside the back rows, no favours, but he's in a race where there's not a hell of a Powder Keg's a really good progressive horse on the way up. He has got a little bit of speed inside him in the one they do get out okay. I'm pretty confident that you're going to get the true version on Majestuoso there Saturday night, and if you do, he's going to be fighting out the finish.
He'll be put into the race if tempo allows it. Obviously, you guys drive your horses to tempo a lot of the time, but if Powder Keg is up there in the breeze, do you think Kate will make the move?
Yeah, probably. He's got terrific speed. He's got a fair bit of strength as well. So it all gets down to tempo related and how hard they go early. Just barrier 8's a little bit tricky sometimes with him. You can get a little bit keen. So you probably got to just hang off it back a little bit and rather just sort of get behind the one that's alongside him. So he will be getting a bit of a start early, but he's in really good order. His work's been happy to have him back at the racetrack.
Sal, do you think Majestuoso is the one to beat? Powder Keg obviously opened favourite and they're almost equal at the moment. How did you see this race playing out?
Yeah, I did, Skeet, to be honest. I just thought there would be a bit of an early burn. I thought Powder Keg would get crossed early and sort of would be in the one wide line there, midfield somewhere. You got 04 Tuner and Sundown Courage, which both burned the gate pretty good. So, I thought he's a class runner, and I just thought he'd probably be too quick for him late.
Toc, your thoughts on the Trotters race?
Yeah, I think a little bit of Twitter banter, but he opened $2.80, and from a punting perspective, I just could not believe that. He's $1.95 right now. Powder Keg's $2. I reckon he'll start $1.50, and I reckon we spoke earlier in the week, Skate, before the fields came out, or when the fields came out, and sort of had a guess at the prices. I honestly thought he'd be like $1.30, $1.40. Whether or not he wins or not, I'm on at $2.40. For those that are on at $2.80, it's amazing. Of course, they get beaten at short prices, but he's as good a $1.95 bet as I've seen for a long time. He's miles, his class, his ratings, miles ahead of all these horses. I just think he'll win, and he'll win really well. So as good a $1.95 you'll get, and I'd take $1.50 on the night if I had to. I
love when Toc gets a full head of steam up and gets so confident. He's just absolutely can't get beat. I'm the same. What was that, Andy?
It keeps swelling my confidence with his confidence.
I'm the same. Look, I thought he'd be around the $1.60 mark, and I think he's the one to beat. At his best, we know he's very, very good. So he is my top tip in the race as well. Time for best bets, a segment that has been up and down. But Andy, you're on a roll. I think you've started off the year with a bang, and we'll go to you last because I just have a feeling that this could be the start of another huge run. My best comes up in race number 6. Rick Riley was unlucky and really good in the Bendigo Cup, was in the Sociola Sprint before that, and then super in the Cranbourne Cup. So gets him well with Geordie Leadham's claim. I think it's a massive drop in grade, and he looks the one to beat Rick Riley. Toc, who's your best?
I don't think I need to talk too much more. It's Majestuoso. I was going to say best of the year, but that's not much of a statement, is it? We're only a few days in, but he's the best of the year, Majestuoso.
Yeah, Andy, I'd be really nervous with this level of confidence from Toc. Sal, your best on the program?
I'm driving one in the first. Hi, my name is Jeff. I actually thought he could probably find the top and would be really, really hard to beat.
He's obviously for Russell Jack, and he has shown plenty of ability. Tell us a little bit more about him.
Yeah, well, I've only driven him. I drove him one night in the trial, sort of thing. But he's sort of targeted some strong races, and he's gone through them series, and he's acquitted himself well. But he's been driven up the fence and that sort of thing. So he's probably his best attribute is when he does lead. So I thought he was a chance of finding the front and would be mighty hard to run down.
He does a really nice horse. Andy Gath, what's your best bet on the program, Shepparton Cup night?
Please.
Yeah. Firstly, Sal, if you're coming on the show, you've got to put the pressure on yourself and tip one that you train. So you should But, we'll stick with the other one. You're hedging your bets a little bit, blaming Rusty if it goes no good. So I'll stick with one of mine, and it's a trotter, but it's Scallywag Sam. Sorry, Toc.
This is not good.
I think he finds race in the last race. He's had a lot of injuries over his time, but he's in really good order. It's a racing. I think he'll find the top, and it's a racing.
So he'll be leading, Andy?
I'd say so, yeah. He's got pretty good gate speed, and yeah, he was good in the Cobram Trotters Cup against quality opposition, and yeah, it is a big drop down in Class 3.
Well, there you go. Hopefully we found 4 winners for you there. That's been another edition of Burning Questions. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you catch all the action on Trots Vision over the weekend with the Shepparton Cup and then the Hamilton Cup on Sunday.